Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the boats bursting in air.
Now arrives the hour of action.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
To subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Judiciary Saturday night. How's everybody doing tonight? Obviously, I need a couple of people to call in to play the show. I mean, the game. Let me turn this down a little bit more. So this, this show is based on the shows in the previous week, so I wanted to recognize Veterans Day, but I don't really have any questions involving Veterans Day, only the issues that we face here in America with the family court and CPS and other institutions like the AFCC. So I wanted to give a shout out to everybody who has served. Thank you. My brother, especially, you can see him, he's probably backwards there, but that was him quite a while ago, back in the Kosovo days, and, that was definitely, probably the most patriotic part of my life, is when my little brother was serving in the Marines. We're all pretty worried about him. And then he was taken out of college. Anybody with urban combat experience who were still in the reserves was pulled out of whatever they were doing to go take over Baghdad. But luckily, that was really no problem for us. I don't know why that's a whole other topic of why we took over Baghdad, but at the same time, I was very happy that he didn't have to go overseas again. So thank you, Ian. I love you. Thank you for your service, and thank you, everybody who has served. I appreciate it. So now we just got to take care of this problem we have with the courts and CPS. So, no calls yet. I should have sent out messages earlier, like I did with Wednesday's show. I've never had so many calls before. I haven't really had a call-in show in quite a long time. So, anyways, you are watching Judiciary Saturday night. All right. Let's see. Oh, we can go over to the chat room. Oh, chat is ready to display. That means I haven't linked everything up. I was too busy inviting people, hoping to get reconnect, hoping to get people to call in if I invited them. So I know there's 8 people watching. So one of you 8 people have to call in. There's no choice. All right. Hey, Brenda. Thank you for watching. Why don't you call in, Brenda? You usually watch at least parts of the shows. This one covers only Kirk's Law Corner and the Marches Live from Wednesday. Far From Normal took this week off. After that Halloween show, they definitely needed it. That was a lot of work we all put into that show. And then to have it removed because of copyright issues was a worry, but you know, it happened, and then went back and edited everything out and synced some things up, and there was a couple of problems and fixed all those and rebroadcast it. So after all of that, everybody needed a break. So any help in Colorado? Yes, there's quite a few of us in Colorado, Trevor. Yeah, absolutely. You can, a lot of those folks. I just started producing a show with Debbie Carroll. We haven't ironed out any details or anything yet, but she's in the Denver area. Another person I really love, Laura Thompson, lives in Denver. Then you have guys like Philly Slims, Oko Willie is out there, Raymond and Amelia Schwab is in Colorado. Yeah, there's a lot of support in the Colorado area, bro. A lot of support on both ends, Title 4D and Title 4E, whether you're a victim of the family courts or CPS. All right, Brenda's calling. Margaret, hello. Welcome to Judiciary Live Saturday night. I like that Saturday night part. I like the Live at 5 part way long ago now, it seems. Live at 5. Back when that was when Wheel of Judiciary was on Wednesdays. Yep. All right, you guys, I'm waiting. That's Brenda. Hello, Brenda. Brenda Johnson, is that you calling in from 7856? Hello, 7856. Welcome to...
Hi, Ted.
Judiciary! Hi, Brenda. Thank you so much for calling.
You're so welcome.
So I'm excited to have you playing Wheel of Judiciary. Carl B. Manning, stay talking about something. Okay. Start. Okay, start talking about something. Yes, well, I'd like to...
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, there is no question yet. We haven't started yet. I'd love it if we could get 2 people to call in so we can all play at the same time. Then I can ask you a question, and then I can ask the other participant a question, and we can go back and forth that way. So, Carl, if you've never watched the show before, please call in and play... Judiciary! That's what it's all about. So what we'll do is we'll get started on Wheel right off the bat with the first question. And then hopefully we get a caller by the end of the first question and we can go back and forth. If we don't, then I'll give you all of your questions and then you'll just have to wait until the end to do the tiebreaker. Or what I could do, like, Kirk says, Carl, it's Wheel of Judiciary. You know what I could do, Kirk? I can give Brenda all of your questions from your show, and then I could give you all of my questions from my show. There, it came up on the screen. Wheel of Judiciary. Maybe I'll change the name. I like that. And why is my lettering purple only here? Everywhere else it's blue. Except for on... Alright, let's get started, Brenda.
Oh boy.
Don't worry, I talk very slow in this first question on Kirk's show. I wasn't really prepared to ask a question, I just threw something out there. And you know, it's hard to create questions every week, you know, 7 questions a week, without being a little bit redundant. But I think there's only really one redundant question on here, but it needs to be hammered into people. Yeah, Kirk, call in if you want, and I'll give, like I said, I'll give Brenda all of your show's questions. All right, here we go, Brenda. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Player 1, question 1. And now that she'd like me to help, but not go to jail, she would like to see those arrears disappear. Is there any way to do that? So, I've never really looked into this before because I never thought I'd ever need to. Well, my picture's really small. Let me blow this up a little bit. So, you have a couple of options to get out from under child support arrears that, in my case, put me out of business. Or it was one of the main factors. The first one is somewhat obvious. What is it? A, take out a loan and pay the debt. B, find and file a waiver yourself. Or C, have the custodial parent, in my case the mother, file a waiver. D, file fraud on the court. What is the first option?
The first option, to get out from under child support arrears.
Child support arrears, if your ex partner wants you to. You know, if everybody's in agreement that...
Oh, C, to have the mother file a waiver if the partner's in agreement, right?
You got it, Brenda. Let's look at the video answer.
There is a form that your ex can fill out to forgive that debt. That's about the only way I know of forgiving the debt, and it has to come from her. The other way is fraud. You don't have a right to a cause of action to collect this from me, and I'm going to have to ask you for your name, your job title, your oath of office, your surety bond. What right are you claiming that I have deprived you of? And who are you? What's your standing here? You don't have any right to have a cause of action against me, as I'm not under any obligation to you, unless it's the person themselves. A lot of it can be beat right in the beginning. You don't even have to show up for court, because as soon as they receive that paperwork, they're going to start backpedaling. You start asking them for things that, you know, they're required to give you. They're going to freak out because they don't have an oath of office, most of them, and they're required by law to have one. And what I mean by law, I'm talking Article 6, Article 6, Clause 3.
So, because of public policy concerns, public perceptions, Congress has decided that child support debt is too important to be discharged in bankruptcy. As a result, in Chapter 13 bankruptcy, your child support obligation is treated as a priority debt and can't be eliminated by your discharge. In fact, you must pay off any outstanding child support arrears in full through your Chapter 13 payment plan. There is no set form as well to forgive arrears on child support. However, you can create a form and title it, quote, motion to discharge and credit. Make sure the petitioner includes the amount needed to zero out the account. I was able to find, oops, where did it go? I found a form. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. There it is. Uno momento, por favor. Open this back up. And so this is the basic form. This is what they want you to fill out. And obviously I would put the, you know, the normal header from all your court documents, you know, what it is at the top, and then the district here, petitioner responded there, yada yada yada. And then it's pretty self-explanatory, really. It's a pretty simple form, so that's one you can use. A side note to this, however, if there was any help given to the custodial parent because they're on child support, if a custodial parent is on child support and they make minimum wage, there's certain help that the state will give that custodial parent. And if they waiver the debt, usually the courts will want them to pay back any financial help they got. That's one huge downside. So let me see here. Well, congratulations. You got that one correct. We do need one more person to call in. So we don't have anybody yet. So are you ready for your next question, Brenda?
Okie dokie.
All right. Let's see. Player one. Question 2.
The court called me up right away. It's like, hey, what are you filing? Listen, just file it. That's all you got to do. After I gave a notice of entry of hearing with the tax affidavit, which is the affidavit of status, they're like, wait a minute, this guy figured something out.
All right. So he's talking about filing a motion. That was Ante. His name is pronounced Ante, just to make sure everybody knows that. So what motion did Ante file? A motion for special appearance. B, a motion in limine. C, motion for a new trial. D, motion to dismiss. And I can replay that for you if you'd like, Brenda, if you want to hear it a second time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
The court called me up right away. It's like, hey, what are you filing? Listen, just file it. That's all you got to do. After I gave a notice of entry of hearing with the tax affidavit, which is the affidavit of status, they're like, wait a minute, this guy figured something out.
So it's a little bit hard for him to understand with the audio. You know, he's through his phone and then through the computer and all that. So what did Ante, what is he talking about? What did he file? A motion of...
I think he's filed several things, bless his heart, but I think he's talking about a motion of appearance. I don't know.
Yeah, A, motion of special appearance. B, motion in limine. C, motion for a new trial. D, motion to dismiss. So A?
Yes. Motion of appearance.
Correct. Good job, Brenda. Let's go to the answer.
Motion or special appearance to contest personal jurisdiction. You have to do this. If you want to contest personal jurisdiction, you have to do this motion right here, okay? Whether raised before or after judgment, here especially, not generally.
All right, I have a long video answer here. So you're correct, Brenda. A special appearance is a term used in the American law of civil procedure to describe a civil defendant's appearance in the court solely to dispute the personal jurisdiction of the court over that defendant, the one who's filing. Prior to the affidavit of this procedure, now, why is this all over my... Let me bring this down here. So, prior to being able to file this, is what they're saying, defendants had to either appear in court to defend the case on the merits or not show up in court at all and then mount a collateral attack on any judgment rendered against them. So they'd have to either go there, even though the courts didn't have jurisdiction, or take whatever claim, even if it was jail time, and then have something ready to counterattack. In a legal catch-22, if the defendant appeared solely to contest jurisdiction, the court would then be permitted to assert jurisdiction based on the defendant's presence. Pretty ridiculous. In response to that apparent inequity presented by this situation, most states have passed statutes permitting the defendant to make a special appearance to contest jurisdiction without further subjecting themselves to the jurisdiction of the court. The equivalent of such an appearance is possible in U.S. federal courts as well, but at that point it would be called a motion to dismiss for lack of personal jurisdiction. So a special appearance is in contrast to a general appearance. This must be filed at the beginning of any proceeding, I believe. All right. We still need a second participant. All right. We have one. We have Crystal Renee Sanford. Hold on the line, Crystal. I know you've played a few times. Unless I'm going to give Kirk's final question to Brenda. So if Kirk wants to call in and play based on the questions from my show, then we'll go that route. But if we have nobody else, Crystal, I'll let you play for the 5th time. So I'm going to go back to player 2, question 1, which is Kirk's question, and give that to you. Kirk says we must file this in the beginning of any case or cause. Yeah. All right. So this is Kirk's final question for Wheel of Judiciary, which I'll give to you. Here we go, Brenda.
So this is why it's important that you get all of this in and on the record. You make all of your arguments. You make your statements. They don't act emotionally. Treat that judge with respect. It don't matter. You are making your case. You're making your arguments, and I could care less what the judge feels, thinks, or even how they rule, because all of this will go to the next court.
Well, there's a little glitch there. So because family court is an illegal court, it is not a court of law, and your rights will be violated, you need to have a deprivation of rights claim ready for the higher court under Title 18, Section what? And this is where I reiterate, because deprivation of rights was on the show last week, and this is something I really want to help hammer into people's heads, because until Kirk started talking about it, I had never heard of it. I think maybe I had heard the Palmers talk about it, possibly. maybe Chris Hallett, but it really never sunk in with me until I started listening to Kirk's Law Corner. So I encourage everybody to listen to his shows Monday. I get a lot of education out of doing my own research, but somebody who understands this stuff on a deeper level like him, not only does that give me more information, but it also gives me more stuff for the show. So, Title 18, Section what? A, 18, B, 24, C, 242, D, 1776. So this is, you need to have a deprivation of rights claim ready for the higher court under Title 18, Section...
Tell me again.
Section 18, Section 24, Section 242, Section 1776. No Googling.
Oh my God. And I wrote it down. I don't know which one it is. Let me guess. Give me the choices again.
18, 24, 242, 1776. I wouldn't know this. There's no way in hell I'd know this.
I don't know it. I'm going to say B.
D, the last one?
No, B. The second one. A, B.
24.
B is in boy.
So close.
24.
So close. 242. Section 242. There was a band called Front.
That's the one. That's the one I was saying. I was thinking 242. Oh well.
Oh, but it.
B must not have been 242.
No, B is 24.
Oh well.
242. You meant 242? You know, it's
I meant
not like we've got millions of people across the country watching. We can bend the rules a little bit and give it to you. I don't care. But
oh no, that's okay. I thought B is in boy, not A, but B. The second one was 242. But that's okay. I got it wrong. So I mean, I knew, but
if you actually knew it was 242 and you just said the letter wrong, you know, kudos to you. You've definitely been listening. All right, Rebecca, it's your turn to call in, okay? You're going to play this time. Rebecca T. Link. We're just waiting on you now. Oh. No, you were wrong, Rebecca, if you chose 18. Sorry. We need one more participant, please, to play. Judiciary! Saturday night. All right. Rebecca, if you don't call in, Crystal is going to have to play for the... Kirk, you need to do this. Do the 5-10 times repeat. Yeah. Well... The one nice thing about Wheel of Judiciary is, all right, cool, you're calling? Thank you. You know, if you ever wanted to reference some of these things, Wheel of Judiciary won't pick up on all of it, but I do spend a lot of time trying to reiterate the points. So it could be almost like a reference for you. I mean, you could literally go back. And some Wheel of Judiciaries are 45 minutes. Some are like an hour and a half, depending on the contestant. Trying to think, one of the longer ones, it was Bud Vino on the phone. He's a talker. So that took a good long while to get through that one. But those are the best ones for me. But, you know, it's a good reference. It really is. All right, we're waiting on I think Rebecca is calling in. Let's see. Ian, there's my brother. My brother Ian is watching. Ian, if you'd like to call into the show, you just dial the phone number, then enter the ID, and all your questions are going to be directly from me and my show on Wednesday.
Is that your brother that was in the service?
Yep. Yeah, I have two younger brothers. Ian is the one who's the Marine, or is the Marine.
Thank you for your.
Oh.
Thank you for your service, Ian.
Thank you, Brenda. Hello, 8700. I believe that is Rebecca T. Link. Welcome to Judas I love this show. Rebecca, are you there? 48700.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Why can't I see myself on your show anymore?
Oh, you have to use the app.
What do you mean?
Well, you can just,
I need
you can
have
just
to use the app for dummies.
the app. The Zoom app for now, if you use the app, that's how you get on camera. But it's probably better not to be on camera for this show. I've done it before, and
But I can't see anything right now. I can't see you anymore.
Oh well.
It's weird, right?
0, I believe
I can hear.
Rebecca T. Link.
It is me.
Yeah. All right. There's quite a delay. I had a little glitch. That was weird. I wonder why I had a glitch on one of the videos, which and then I started getting a delay, which would give you an even further delay. All right, Rebecca. Remember, I can reiterate. Having a hard time talking tonight. I can replay these questions for you as many times as you want. Turn down the volume on your phone, if you would, please. And we'll go right into player 2, question 1. I put things out of order here, so let me make sure I get the correct one.
It's off. My voice is off because I'm calling you from one phone and watching it on another. So you still have the other question that's still up.
Oh, that's a really long delay. You're kidding. I wonder why it's such a long delay.
It's because probably because I need like the app for dummies. I don't know. Kirk needs to put something together.
I guess Kirk will have to do a show on how to use Zoom. But anyways.
Well, Zoom, I didn't zoom in. I guess I have that because we connected with that before.
Yeah, you've used Zoom in the past, so I'm sure you must have the app. But this is a more direct way to join. Is just
okay. Well,
number. So
we'll
just
be direct.
Listen to the questions carefully. I can play them a second time if you'd like. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
You're gonna make me look stupid.
I'm not gonna make you look stupid.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
The Bar Association here actually sided with the Fathers' Rights movement, actually supported those changes. Supported them changing the laws from saying mom and dad to being neutral, and supported reasonable visitation going to some sort of structured plan, which is how we got our standard possession order.
And that's how they got rich.
Now you both can fight equally.
We had a situation in the 90s, not the TFRM we know today, not the Fathers' Rights movement on social media, but Fathers' Rights groups back then in the 90s. Newt Gingrich specifically started saying we needed to get mothers off of welfare. What ended up happening is they created this entity which is now called the AFCC. All right, simple question here, and one we all need to know at this point and understand. What does AFCC stand for? A, Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. B, American Fair Credit Council. C, Australians for lower intelligence. D, I don't know why I put that. That was an inside joke, but was probably very rude, actually. If you don't know the inside joke. D,
I didn't get it.
Yeah, I know. It's silly. But it's hard to come up with wrong answers.
Okay, it's all right.
D, American Fellowship Cowboy Churches. So, A. Okay, let's see.
My final answer.
How do I stop this? Stop. Stop. Alright, let's just go into the video answer.
What happened?
I don't know. Updates. I'm telling you, updates. There isn't a stop button on these little tiny tracks. Jeesh. So anyways, you got it right.
Ooh, that's great. I finally got something right in my life.
What they evolved into is a non-profit organization that created GALs, created therapists, and now they are pushing...
So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, Ted, because that's exactly why we're publishing more books and why we published the first one, the Not in the Child's Best Interest. You are exactly correct. I think I know where you're going. If you bring the wrong message to them, then they're going to come up with the wrong solution, and they're most likely going to come up with a solution that profits them the most.
Correct.
When they said, hey, this isn't working for us, and by the way, that's gender bias by having mom, just by having the statute say mom gets custody, dad gets reasonable visitation. Oh, okay, you're right. You both should be able to fight for the kids because we can make more money.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to us is instead of going back to the root of the problem and fixing the process of no-fault divorce, we let companies like the AFCC say, oh, well, we have a solution. And because of that, they made money off of it. So special interest groups like the AFCC started off with good intentions, but once money is flowing, the entity that group once wanted to end becomes its source of funding. Instead of fixing the problem, like I said, at its source, they have contributed to it by adding more state actors that can train more state actors they can train. So they train guardian ad litems, they train therapists, now they're training psychologists, and a bunch of other people that add litigation to a process that shouldn't even exist because they say it's the way it should be. And so they're more than happy to help us out with parental alienation by making us pay through court-appointed psychologists, which is the opposite of what we need. If child abuse needs to go to criminal court, not stay in family court. This is the whole point of what we're doing. We just say, oh yes, we just need to fix it, put more litigation in family court. That's not the answer. It's the opposite of what we need. So they've made the cost of divorces just skyrocket through the roof, and currently they want to further litigation by adding court-appointed psychologists. If the term follow the money ever applies, this is where it does more than any other example. The AFCC was allowed to grow inside a community similar to ours, but before social media. Getting rid of this group is not going to be easy, but should be one of our main focuses. Let's look at the webpage. Let's see, where is it? Right there. So this is their website.
Wait a second. Chad.
Yes.
Am I still there? Why is Kirk saying that not one know what the law says? He's saying it's D. He's making a joke, right?
I don't know. I've got the website open. I can't see the comments at the moment. I'll look at it in a second. So,
Kirk, are you joking?
So, conferences, sponsorship opportunities. This is all, and right here, their name, Association of Family Courts, Conciliation Courts. They're an association of courts. Improving the lives of children and family through the resolution of family court. Yeah, as long as you can afford to go bankrupt. No, they're not helping anybody. They're furthering the destruction of this country by adding their own services to a litigation that shouldn't exist. So no, these people need to go away and fast. And fast. All right. Next question, Rebecca.
Now he's laughing and laughing and laughing.
All right, I'll go look at it in a second. And you don't open the door. You ask them if they have a warrant. If you don't have a warrant, you keep that door locked. If they have a warrant, you ask to see the warrant. If that warrant isn't signed by a judge...
And the electronic signature is not valid either.
Physically signed versus electronically signed signatures. All right. This is a simple question for you, Rebecca. It's a yes or no question.
Again?
Can you let a CPS officer or a police officer in your house with an electronically... Wow, I spelled that one really good. Electronically signed signature. Electronically signed signature. Yes or no?
No.
Let's go look at the video answer. If somebody goes to your door and they don't have a proper warrant and they remove your kids, that's kidnapping, treason, punishable by death. That didn't really give us an answer. All right, so California and Georgia enacted legislation authorizing electric issuances in 1998, Florida in 2002, Colorado just last year. But you will need to check with local law enforcement because there is no list of states that allow e-signatures beyond the 3 I found, or the 4 rather. You would think this information would be easy to find given its importance, that the American people would have a clear understanding of it, but of course not. So technically that is a... Because it is, yes, they are allowing it. Not all states that I know of, but it's very hard to find out. So whatever state you are in, find out. Call your sheriff's office and...
What state am I in, Ted?
You're in Florida.
Not state of mind. Thank you.
You're in Florida, and that's
electric. Yes. What's that?
And that's a yes for Florida. They apparently use... or they're allowed to use electronic signatures for warrants in Florida.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. All right. You sure?
I'm sure. That's what I found out. I don't have the website because, I mean, trying to get...
Did you ask Kirk?
I didn't ask Kirk. I'm not sure. Kirk would know. Utah. Absolutely. I would guess that Utah doesn't, based on the things he said about Utah. They're pretty strict, but a state like Florida, you know how lazy people are in Florida. It's too hot to do anything out there. Could you imagine having to get in your car and drive all the way to the courthouse or all the way to the judge's house to get a signature? Jesus.
I never heard of it here. I just never had anybody any type of law. Like, Kirk likes to base everything on not just family law. Right. I just never heard of it I never knew that existed before.
I didn't either until that was John Patton who mentioned that at the end. And I had never considered that either. I just always thought my default thought was it had to be signed by a judge. But I've signed plenty of things with an e-signature. It's interesting, California and Georgia being the first ones in 98. But that's electronic issuances. Yeah, I was searching specifically for warrants. So check your state. So technically that's a incorrect answer, but but it really depends on
I'm
the
not
state.
always right, Ted. I make mistakes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, are you ready for your last question?
I get 3. Okay.
There you go. Law enforcement is working under the color of law, and a lot of states now, officers aren't swearing an oath to the Constitution; they're swearing an oath to the. So there are. What the hell is that? Somebody sound. It sounds like you're. Can't do it.
It's not me.
What happened?
There are a growing number of states that could care less about law and allow their officers to swear an oath, not to the Constitution, but to the what? To Al-Qaeda, to the state, to the court, to themselves. They're not swearing an oath to the Constitution in some states. Officers aren't. But they are swearing an oath to what?
To the court.
That is correct. Let's go to the video answer, which is pretty much the same thing, I think, just with the end. Law enforcement is working under the color of law. And a lot of states now, officers aren't swearing an oath to the Constitution. They're swearing an oath to the court.
Wow.
I don't have a list of those states. Yeah, I really wanted to get a list of those states. But that
Kirk knows it. He's on here.
Well, I don't think it was taking me so long, and it takes me like at least 10 hours to put this show together. So police officers are taking oath to the courts, not to the Constitution. And you need to be very... What?
That's terrible.
It is, and you need to be very concerned about this. Officers working illegally are in the following states that I know of: Alaska, Colorado. I've checked alphabetically only through Florida. All the other states through Florida swear an oath to the Constitution. Please Google this. This is in quotes. Police officer's oath of office, your state. If you live in a state where police do not give an oath to the Constitution, let your legislators know. Tell them that if they do not change it, you will hold them accountable for constitutional violations. It goes beyond unacceptable to me. I really think this is criminal. But you need to be careful. Police officers are currently the executioners and rarely see consequences for their actions. Where is that drip drop sound coming from? Gonna drive me crazy. All right.
I'm sorry. I was inviting people to the show. You can't go crazy for that.
Thank you, Rebecca. All right. Well, there is. I mean, technically, you each got 2 correct and 1 wrong. Technically, so there is a tiebreaker question, and I want to throw this one out there more because I want to give a shout out to Fixed Family Courts, Sherry and Ron Palmer, for calling in the show on Wednesday. So here we go. Tiebreaker question. How this works is, as soon as you hear the question, the first person to answer it correctly wins. So this is for both of you. You both understand that?
Okay.
Brenda,
who am I competing with?
With Brenda Johnson. Brenda, are you still with us?
Hey, Brenda.
I am. Hello.
All right.
Hi.
I didn't know it was you. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now it's like, yeah. She's nice. So if I know the answer, I'm not going to say it. Just kidding. Go ahead.
I've got a lot of shirts.
No. Hey, look, I would have got those wrong. The one you missed, I would have gotten that wrong, too. I would not let them in. But go ahead, Ted. Go with the question.
All right. This is the final question. And so whoever answers this first technically wins, even though you're both winners in my eyes. I wish I'm having problems.
You're
Thank you, Ted. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Thank you. We're all winners.
You're all winners if you're watching the show. All right, here we go.
We have appellate courts that say there's no basis in law to say that judges and chapter are in family court are state actors.
Yeah.
And so that's part of so many of these kind of things that we have to break through, and that's what we're doing, is giving parents all these tools to break through all of their garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
They can find that stuff, Ted, at fixedfamilycourts.com.
All right. What does the term state actor mean? A, someone working on behalf of the government. B, someone not working on behalf of the government.
A.
I heard Rebecca.
Yes.
And that is correct.
Congratulations, Rebecca. Wait, did you know it too, Brenda?
I'm going to say
I was still thinking about it. I wasn't fast enough. So, girl, you won.
Hi, Ted. This is Sherry.
No, we're all
Ron
winners,
Palmer.
remember?
Hi, Sherry. Hi,
Yeah, we
Ron.
are.
Thank you for calling back.
We generally try to, like you said, try to keep the focus on the goal, which is, like, as you said, protecting children so that they're not being stripped out of fit and loving, involved parents' lives.
So I just wanted to plug Fixed Family Courts for Sherry and Ron Palmer. I know they help a lot of people. Somebody who was on the show previously, who I need to have back on the show because we had technical problems both times, or every time we tried, was Mike Reapin out of Michigan.
Article 6, Clause 2 says anything in the Constitution of laws of a state to the contrary is notwithstanding.
Right,
I guess that's from the last question.
Okay.
About the electronic signature.
Right.
Do you understand what that means?
I do. If it's... I don't know. We'll have to talk about how warrants are worded. If a signature is okay... There and with technology, more and more people are using e-signatures. I've used them numerous times.
And county contrary is notwithstanding. Okay, well, we'll have to figure that one out. That's a good topic to talk about, right?
Yeah. So, well, this state actors. Let me get through this. This is interesting. In the United States law, a state actor is a person who is acting on behalf of a governmental body. If you go to the bottom, governmental body, the government of any country or of any political subdivision of any country, any agency of such government, any other person or organization authorized by law to perform any executive, legislative, judicial, regulatory, administrative, military, or police functions of any such government, and any intragovernmental organization, member states. That's what a governmental body is. And therefore subject to regulation under the United States Bill of Rights, which prohibit the federal and state governments from violating certain rights and freedoms. Although the term would seem to include only persons who are directly employed by the state, the Supreme Court has interpreted these amendments and laws passed pursuant to them to cover many persons who have only indirect relationship with the government. Controversies have arisen, for example, over whether private companies that run towns or prisons can be held liable as state actors when they violate fundamental civil rights. This question remains unsolved. They didn't mention family courts, but they're right in there too. But the Supreme Court has held private citizens to be liable as state actors when they conspire with government officials to deprive people of their rights. Family court judges and CPS facilities are saying that they are not state actors, although they use state actors to enforce their rulings. By that logic, the American people can start their own system to help children and families rather than profit off them. This goes right to what Martin Lynch was saying last night, Wednesday night. And we can use that same system to prosecute these, quote, non-state acting judges, attorneys, and even the AFCC members, because the AFCC, since they're working with an agency that's working with a governmental body, they're just as liable for these atrocities. So
Right. I agree.
Yeah. We're going to get there, you guys. We keep doing what we're doing, and this stuff isn't going to last much longer. So thank you both for playing. Judiciary Saturday night. So let me.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you very much, Brenda, and thank you, Rebecca. Make sure to send me your addresses so I can send you both a shirt and your sizes, if you don't mind. All I have is women's medium, and then the unisex, regular T-shirt, large.
Is it wait a second. Unisex T-shirts? You don't have female T-shirts?
I do. The mediums. The mediums are specifically female.
No, they don't. They're not form-fitting like females are.
The female shirt is more so. Yes.
You make a beautiful female shirt, and your girl there, your electronic girl, Gabrielle, is that her name?
Oh, Gabriella. Yes. Yeah, I wish I could see.
She's got a nice shirt. I like that. It's like perfect.
Yeah,
outfit.
It's just like that.
Yeah.
Just like it.
Okay. Is it? Okay.
Oh, cool. That's good to know, Rebecca. Those are the ones we want, right?
Yeah, thank you, Ted. Thanks for encouraging me to call in, and thanks, Kirk, for laughing at me. All right, and he's watching. And nice talking to you, Brenda. Have nice
fun. Talking to you too, girl.
All right.
All right, guys. That's the whole show. Let's see, where are we now? Just under an hour, and so 10 hours of work for a 1 hour show. I hope you guys liked it. And I hope you all can use it as a reference in the future. That's what I'm here to do.
You opened up.
I opened the what now?
You opened up some new avenues to discuss. So that was good.
Yeah.
Your 10 hours is going to open up a lot of conversation, I think.
I hope so. It's even if you're watching Kirk's show intently, you could look away or just blink for a second and miss something very important like these things. So this information is so important, and the way Wheel of Judiciary evolved, I'm just super psyched to be able to help people get this information sunk in. And if you can't get it sunk in, then just go back to Wheel of Judiciary or watch Kirk's Law Corner. It's a really fun show. This last week, you had like 4 or 5 callers on. It was a really fun show. Really well done, and the knowledge, I mean, the people that are calling in have practiced the things that Kirk is talking about, and it's working. So please check it out.
Yeah.
That's this Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Kirk is in Mountain Time, so that's 6 p.m. Kirk's time, 8 p.m. my time. Thank you, everybody, for playing. Judiciary! We'll see you Monday.
Sounds good. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night,
I had fun. Thank you, Ted. Thanks.
Thanks, Ted.